Here's Brody Brazil.
Well, there's no question this is a blockbuster deal. We've known about it publicly for about 5 months. I think in March, some whispers of this story first came out, and it's not official yet. That might be right around the corner. But again, what a blockbuster deal that ESPN and the NFL are essentially obtaining a little bit of each other's properties. ESPN is going to take over the NFL Network. As part of that, their RedZone channel. As part of that, some fantasy football interests. And the NFL is going to get reportedly about a 10% stake in ESPN. All of this being reported by Andrew Marchand of The Athletic. He initially was on this story. We talked about it here on the channel back in March. He's giving us some further details and confirmation. And again, none of this yet official, but it might be by the time you're watching this in just a couple days. According to Andrew, ESPN, quote, is expected to have access to RedZone, NFL Network, 7 more regular season games, the NFL's fantasy football business, wow, as well as the potential to integrate special features including betting, shocker, and potentially more assets. So ESPN getting a haul of things that maybe the NFL has produced and has worked on, but they want to divest in it. Instead, the NFL is going to receive up to 10% of ESPN equity. Now, what's the valuation of ESPN right now? And they're just about to launch a brand new app. We'll talk about that in a second. They've been around for multiple decades, a known commodity, literally one of the leaders in sports media. But the NFL is basically, to summarize this, NFL's getting a piece of ESPN, and ESPN is getting some large pieces of the National Football League. All of this, again, has been in discussion for Andrew. What Andrew is saying is 4 years' time. That's how long these initial talks have been going on. It's admittedly complicated. So when you talk about acquiring part of a network or acquiring, for ESPN's perspective, NFL Network or RedZone as a channel or more regular season games or the fantasy product, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts here. So it's going to take some time. It's also going to take regulatory approval, which could take 9 months, could take 12 months, could be politically influenced and charged of why it might be blocked. More on that in a second, too. We're expecting, though, that this could officially be announced, like the process of moving this forward could officially be announced later in this upcoming week. More from Andrew and his piece, which I'll link to down below, by the way. I'm just kind of taking out the main parts here. All of this comes several weeks ahead of ESPN's introduction of a next era app or platform, or I'm not really sure what to call it. They've always had an app, but they're kind of reimagining it, reconfiguring it, and offering something brand new, which is supposed to blow everybody's mind away. It's also going to cost $29.99 a month. You can buy this separately from a cable subscription. So if you don't have a cable provider, a service provider, you can get everything ESPN has to offer. You can watch all of their programming for $30 a month. Or, I believe, if you already have a subscription to ESPN through a cable provider, through a satellite provider, you will get access to the entirety of this app and its platform. In 2011, here's why this is very important. In 2011, ESPN was on 100 million cable homes in the United States. In 2024, down to 65.3 million. They've lost their positioning because a lot of people are not cable customers or satellite customers anymore. So ESPN is trying to make themselves accessible, put their platform direct to consumer, right? Skip the middleman of cable or satellite. They're trying to make this an easy route for customers to just commit to them. And they're doing this NFL thing for the timing of it, right? If you have a new property, you want to make sure that it's got something that people are going to want to watch. Oh yeah, like NFL RedZone. ESPN, though, is already paying the NFL $2.7 billion a year a season for Monday Night Football and 25 games of rights. They also have the rights to the 2027 and 2031 Super Bowl. So again, all those little pieces like back and forth and the negotiation here, you'd have to imagine that's why it took 4 years to actually bring this to fruition. Marchand says this in The Athletic, quote, NFL Network was plagued by cutbacks for years, even though the league is a multi-billion-dollar juggernaut. ESPN is expected to invest in improving NFL Network programming, according to sources briefed on its plans. Now, I will talk about this too in just a second. There's a lot of people concerned that ESPN might take something that everybody loves in NFL RedZone, for example. I'll put NFL Network aside. They love the RedZone product and what it has become on Sunday mornings and afternoons. They're worried that sometimes by thinking you have to do more with it means you have to change it in a way that is not what people are already enjoying. You don't need to touch RedZone. But the fact that ESPN already might be thinking about, well, we can make this better. If it ain't broke, don't even try to fix it, is my position on that. More from Marchand here, quote, for the NFL, let's take a look at their side of this, the deal would divest the league from TV production business and allow it to focus more intently on mining its core IP, intellectual property, all while acquiring a meaningful stake in one of its most important media partners, swapping the receding value of NFL media for the higher growth potential of ESPN's business. The NFL having a vested interest in ESPN's financial health will seemingly increase the value of ESPN on its face. Right? So they're trying to figure out, how do we maximize all this? How about the media company does the media thing, and then the league gets a stake of the media company to try and boost its value and its connection in return? They're literally trying to make each other more valuable by doing this connection. It's not even really a buyout. Like, let's begin here with my takeaways. This is not really a purchase. I know people will say ESPN is buying RedZone. Well, kind of, but then the NFL's buying 10% of ESPN. There's no better way to put this than it's more of a merger than a purchase, either way or both ways. This is a merger of the NFL getting something and ESPN getting something. That regulatory approval comes with the territory. Part of the process could take 9 to 12 months. But there have been some whispers that the current White House and President Trump will try and insert themselves into this business transaction. For what reason? I don't know. If there's an opposition to it or if there is a certain support of it. If there's support, then nothing's going to happen. Maybe it even gets fast-tracked. But there have been whispers of opposition. I'm not sure for what exact reason. But just know that all of this can't happen unless there's regulatory approval. They can't just decide they want to do this on their own. The government does have to intervene and approve this, but how complicated does that get is the question. There is a concern, like I mentioned, that ESPN could make things worse, whether it's NFL Network or the RedZone channel. I think in my background with media production and broadcasting over the years, I would say that NFL Network has been very, very simple and straightforward. Like ESPN always tries to maybe overdo it and they try and put the ESPN polish on it. I get it. And NFL Network has been a solid product and a good product, but I don't know that they ever pushed the boundaries. And I think that's what ESPN is going to do to NFL Network. Does that instantly make it better? That's up for interpretation. I think a lot of people would say, again, going back to RedZone, don't fix something that doesn't need adjustments. Keep it basically the same thing. Keep people happy. But again, like, you're going to pump more money into it. You're going to try and make it your own. And by doing that, you're inevitably going to change things. So I think from the NFL Network perspective, sure, there could be some enhancements, some improvements. Maybe that's more of a forefront type channel. You know, maybe that is more of a headliner type channel. It's existed and it's popular during the season, but now maybe ESPN makes it kind of a, more of a spotlight situation. But in terms of RedZone, I even am concerned about the future of that channel and what ESPN might do to it. Here's another thing, separate totally from football, from anything else we've talked about so far in this video. ESPN just backed out of the final 3 years of their deal with Major League Baseball. And now that ESPN is literally going to be 10% potentially owned by the NFL. Right now, ESPN has other deals with the NHL and the NBA, but ESPN has basically severed their ties with Major League Baseball. Will all of this, the NFL taking over and the MLB deal going away, is baseball just going to disappear entirely from ESPN because they don't have a connection anymore? What about the other leagues? What if you're the NBA and you're like, wait a second, football just bought 10% of the league that is now paying us and doing our deal, and are they going to try and make this a primarily football network? What about our deal? And the same thing with the NHL. So I'm curious what it means for the other leagues now that one of the leagues is buying in. And if you think that they're not at least paying high attention to this or slightly concerned by this, I guarantee you they are. They want to see how this plays out now that ESPN and all of its partners are connected in one way or another to the NFL with potentially taking over about 10%. This is a blockbuster deal. Unprecedented, but you know what? Here in 2025, yeah, I said it, here in 2025, these things don't surprise me as much anymore. The unconventional is kind of the nature and the name of the game. Who would have thought something like this would ever happen where these two forces join like this, but it's no surprise. And could it benefit everybody in the long term? Probably. Does it benefit the viewer and the customer in the long term? That's the part I don't know about yet. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section down below. Also, thumbs up while you're down there. Greatly appreciate that. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button so I can definitely see you back here next time.